So, hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite everything, and I was gonna do an album review today, but I want to listen to those albums more times before I review it, so that means that today I have no videos to make, but since I'm bored and I'm stuck in my home, why not? you know? Let's just talk about my school life. Now, here's the thing. You may think that I've already talked enough about my school life, but everything I've talked about in my school life only started since 10th grade or Form 4, meaning that I've actually never fully, completely talked about everything that had happened to me, or at least everything important that had happened to me from Forms 1 to 3. So I'm gonna do that in this video. I'm gonna try my best to compress everything because if you if I were to talk about my school life, I can talk for hours upon hours, days upon days nonstop because there is just so much to talk about. There is just so much to explore. There are so many interesting people, interesting incidents with different implications, and it's all super complicated and interesting, and it's a whole universe, okay? So I'm going to try my best to just tell you guys the most important things while respecting every single person's privacy. And this is a little bit tilted. This is better. It's a little tilted. Still, nope. Okay, this is better. Alright, so you may be wondering, why the hell do I have such good memory? Why the hell would I remember everything? Well, let me be honest here. I don't remember everything. But the only reason why I do is because of these. These are my diaries, okay? All the way from books 1 to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7 books are my diaries, my detective diaries, as you can see, because the word detective is literally on the cover, and I write everything in it. But there's one flaw, and that is I only started writing my diaries since March 2015. And I started going to secondary school since September 2014. So everything that had happened from September 2014 to March 2015 are not recorded in these diaries. But it doesn't mean that I haven't written some of those things down. I actually wrote some of those things down in my journal, which is hidden because it's so old. I didn't write them in detail. So yes, I still have forgotten a lot of things, but I still remember a good chunk of things. So today I'm only going to be covering Forms 1 to 2, and I'm going to try my best to just compress everything. Let's go. So it was, let's talk about what happened before I joined the school, because there were a few things. First of all, January 2014 is where I had my first interview for entering the school. And it was an okay interview. I was pretty good at speaking English back then in 2014. I was 11 years old, but I don't think I had the perfect American accent yet. Like right now, it's so much more American. Like right now, my accent, it's so much more American than before. And I think it is late February 2014 or early March 2014 when I had my second interview, where I went into the general office of the school on the ground floor, which is the main office of the thing where all the important people, like the principal, the vice principals, and all the important staffs, they all worked there. And I went in there like every student would who passed the first interview. We would go in there, and the process of elimination will continue, meaning that like thousands of people, of students will try to enter the school, and only 172 will be chosen to enter the school, and I am one of the 172. And I had an interview with a vice principal, and we talked a little bit. Some questions are trickier, but I knew how to answer them, and I actually passed. And on March 15th, 2014, I finally had received the news that I have entered the school, and that is fantastic news. I thought I can have a new life. Now, to give you guys a little backstory, before I have entered my secondary school, in primary school, aka elementary school in American words, I was a socially awkward boy. But more importantly, I was a bit of a failure, in my opinion. How do I say this? I was a bit of a clown. Like, I like to tell jokes, I like to act funny, to a point where I can't even, control it. Like, every time I'm in front of my elementary school classmates, I automatically have to act funny because there's no other way. Any other way is just going to end up awkward. And I kind of want a new life from that. I want to actually be me. I want to be, this serious person, I want to be a real mature dude, So I was looking forward to my new school life. I was actually looking forward to completely abandon my primary school life and leave everything and everyone behind. I was ready to move on. So anyways, after March 2015, I think it was July or April or May or somewhere in between April to July 2014, there were three experience days. Now, these experience days are basically where all the people who have successfully entered the school will sort of do these activities, and they don't have to wear the school uniform yet, and they're just going to get to know each other, sort of walk around the school and learn about the structure of the school, the campus, the events and all that stuff. And there we go, the experience days. I remember that on the second day of the experience day, I was with this girl in this dark red jacket, and like we were in this team because my family name starts with the L sound. So every student whose family name starts with the L sound all come together, and then the group leader split us into groups of two. So me and this other girl, we were together, and our job is to look for Chinese idioms which are written on signs all over the campus. So me and this girl, we were like, and I was acting really serious, even though in the inside I'm not, but I was acting, really mature and serious. And there's that. Now, remember this, okay? Remember this girl, okay? Because I will talk about her again in like half an hour. I will return to this, okay? There's a plot twist. Anyways, after the 3 experience days in August 2014 is where we have our bridging course, which is basically the pre-secondary school summer bridging course where we actually wear our school uniform, attend classes, have lunches there, and sort of get to know each other before the actual thing begins. So there's the bridging course, and several things that happened in the bridging course. I didn't do anything, but many other girls, they started, knowing each other. They started learning more about one another. There are friend groups starting to form. It's like Earth's big in the beginning of its formation, basically. So we have the bridging course, and there's this one kid. He's not very athletic. He's not very tough. He's nerdy, kind of geeky. Wears glasses. And he always jumps around, runs around, and one time I was having my drink, like this bottle of peach tea or lemon tea, and then he just snagged it, and I'm like, hey, that's my drink. And he's like, haha, try and catch this, and at the end he gave it back to me. Turns out his name is Cedric, and a year later, he would go on to become my best friend. Who would have thought? Anyways, after the bridging course, we fast forward to September 1st or 2nd, 2014, where I start my secondary school life. So yeah, nine minutes in, and I'm starting. First day of school, I was late. Yeah, I was late. Am I? I remember that on the first day of bridging course, I was late, but I don't know if it's the first day of bridging course or is it the first day of my secondary school life. But I wasn't the only one who's late. Like Ronald is also late. Ronald, this taller, athletic, tan-skinned boy, who's kind of joking around. He's also late. And actually, for a while, me, Ronald, and Cedric, we were like not best friends, but we were close to one another, and we would pass pieces of paper to one another during class, just for the funsies, just for the jokes. Am I right? And our Chinese teacher in Form 1, who suck ass, by the way, she is this big woman from Beijing, and from Forms 1 to 3, we had to learn Chinese in Mandarin, which is fucking bullshit, okay? From Forms 4 to 6, we learn it in Cantonese, our own language, but from Forms 1 to 3, we need to speak in Mandarin. And our Chinese teacher in Form 1 from Beijing, of course she speaks Mandarin, so that sucks. And then every time, and she hates me, by the way. Like, even after years, right? In Form 4, I would become... Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I would become like this MC of the ceremony, and then she would coach on me. And every time I do something wrong back in Form 1, like every time I laugh out loud, and she's gonna be like, 这个同学站起来 5分钟 something like that, and it's just fucking stupid, okay? In translation, this student stand up for 5 minutes. And then we have our class teachers, Miss... Now, it's all pseudonyms. It's all fake names. Miss Solomon, okay, Solomon, and Mr. Thompson. These two teachers are two of the most infamous, notorious teachers of our school. And, yeah, and they are our class teachers. Here's the thing. Okay, this is how, Hong Kong education system works, Asian education system in general, where we are assigned to a class and we stay in that class. Like we are assigned to 1C, so we stay in 1C. And instead of going to another classroom to take this class and going to another classroom to take this class, the classes that we are going to take are all already determined by the teachers. We don't get to decide what classes we take. If we are assigned to 1C or any class, we need to take all the classes basically. And what happens is that the teachers, they will come to our classroom and teach us. And aside from that, we are going to have 2 class teachers. And these class teachers, they don't have to be teachers of any classes. They only manage the student stuff. But Mr. Thompson is actually the chief of the physics department, and the Miss Solomon who is a really short, very plus size, very big woman, but also very short. She's also the scariest woman in the entire school. She is the chief of art department. And together they are our class teacher. Now every single class have different class teachers, and every single class has 2 class teachers, right? So Miss Solomon, she is horrifying. Like every time you piss her off, she's like, and you cannot tell if she's angry or if she's happy. She's and every time she actually like explodes, it gets violent. Like he would smash the desk, he would break pens, and she's just a very toxic person. She is very strict, like not like she if she hears one single sound, okay, when she's in the classroom, she would get mad. But even if she gets mad, she's like, Like, you wouldn't know, but you could see it in her eyes, like, I'm gonna kill all of you. She's horrifying, okay? She is horrifying. Like, one time she was upset about us because when we had to pull our chairs away from our desk so that we can sit on top of the chair, she would be upset because it was too noisy. The friction between the chair and the ground, the scratching of that is too noisy. So she would force us to pull and push the chairs away and into the table for like 20 minutes straight. And if we don't do it well, she's gonna call each and one of our 2 parents. We had 35 students, all together 70 parents, okay? She is insane, to put it lightly. She is insane. Now for Mr. Thompson, he is not insane, but he's a bit of a strange man. He's actually hilarious. Not because he's funny or anything, but the way he acts and the way he speaks, just how he walks and how he talks. It's just, it's very strange. And he has this very strange passion for physics. And he's like he just does this all the time. Okay, class, keep quiet. I honestly don't mind having him as teacher. I think he's hilarious. I think it's just, yeah, he's not a great teacher as well, because he always gets distracted by another thing, like, oh, by the way, this thing, oh, by the way, that thing, oh, what was I talking about? I forgot. Oops. And so there we go, Mr. Thompson and Miss Solomon. But they are not the main point of the class. Our class, I'm in class 1C, the people is the main point. So immediately in the beginning, there's this kid, Tom, right? Tom, he went up to me and I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, in my heart, I was like, who the fuck are you? And I was like, who are you? And Tom's like, yo, what? How could you have forgotten about me? You and I, we were friends in kindergarten. Remember that? And I was like, no. And then Tom was like, oh, dude, remember Edward? Remember Keith? And I'm like, I have no idea who they are. Apparently, we all studied in the same kindergarten. I have no clue, okay? I have no fucking clue. And then there's this other guy called Jeffrey, who wasn't in the same kindergarten with me, but managed to become friends with Tom, Edward, and Keith. So Tom, Edward, Keith, Jeffrey, and then me. So us 5, we were somewhat close to one another. Of course, them 4 are closer to one another because they know each other. I was a little bit detached, but Tom was just really friendly to me. And so that's how that thing started. Another thing is the green theory. For the first 3 months of Form 1, I had this very strange theory, and it actually already started before I joined secondary school, in that I start to realize that there are people in our society that are just hardcore. They are always angry. They are very serious. They hate humanity. They hate the society, and they are monsters. They are worthless. They're ruthless. They would do anything in order to be more powerful than their opponents. For example, if you and this person, you were in a swimming class, this person would be like swimming super fast, and this person would be super cool and chill and cold-blooded. And this person is a monster in the inside, and to a point where you'd almost think that this person has superpowers, has supernatural abilities. At the same time, they're kind of quiet about their supernatural abilities, in that they try to hint it, like, you don't know what I'm capable of, okay? Yes, I have secrets, and you have no right to understand these secrets, and you won't understand these secrets, but they won't tell you what it is. So these kind of people, I call them greens. I don't know any better word than green, okay? Like they're greens. I call them greens. So I made an entire list called the green list, where it's just a list of people whom I think could potentially be this kind of people, right? Serious, hardcore, society-hating monsters. And there were 12 people in the list initially. Gary, Harry, Oliver, Linda, Jordana, Kenny, Mary, Wendy, Andy, Natalie. And again, it would waste a lot of time if I had to go through each and one of them. There are a few standouts. Jordana and Linda are standouts. Jordana, go watch my other video where I recap every student. But back in Form 1, I hadn't realized how dark and evil and manipulative of a person Jordana is. So all I perceived of her is that she's just a very hardcore, serious person who's good at everything. I mean, Jordana's hot. And she's not thick, but she has a pretty good body, for for a 12-year-old. She's not bad, okay? And she's smart, like she's top of the class. She's really good at Chinese and other subjects. She was good at maths, I think. And she's also fast. She's also kind of strong, and she likes hitting boys, slapping them. But do you know who else likes hitting boys? Linda. Linda is Jordana's best friend, was Jordana's best friend, and Linda would just slam the boys back, kick them. No one is able to defeat Linda. Linda is a monster. She is a master at Kung Fu, and she can beat people up. And she's also really pretty, also. So there's that. Another person is Natalie. She's also crazy. She's really crazy, right? She's really smart. She speaks really fast. She's like a maniac. She is a maniac. If you don't know what a maniac is, it's a person who's always in this elated mood, who's always impulsive, and who's like who just does things really, really fast and is very aggressive. Natalie is aggressive, okay? Natalie is she's smart. She speaks English really well. She's half Hong Konger, she's 37.5% Hong Konger, 50% another Southeast Asian country, 12.5% Peruvian. Another girl is Mary. Mary speaks a lot of languages. She's only half Hong Konger, and she's visually pleasing, okay? And she's also kind of how should I describe her? She's nice, she's seductive, and she has secrets too, and she has a dark side, but it seldom shows. And then Oliver, who I used to think is a pretty special person. I mean, he gets mad, but in normal days, right, he's just this cute, funny boy who likes to joke around and stuff. Queenie, fast, violent girl who's super energetic, hyper energetic, very gorgeous looking girl as well. Wendy, tan skin, acts kind of strange and sneaky sometimes. Kenny, who's this boy who also knows martial arts and who always throws things onto the ground. And I get more and more paranoid. As time goes by, I become more and more paranoid about these people. I would make like a lot of lists, and I would do a lot of research on them. I would observe them, write notes about them, collect information about them, collect secrets about them, and I would weave a gigantic web of just people connections, just relationships. I was quite a bit of a detective. Man, I'm not gonna tell you about this now. Okay, anyways, one time I was in the classroom, Linda suddenly looked at me and said, "Kill me! Kill me!" And I didn't even know her. I just thought she's a really hot Kung Fu girl. And she just looks at me and go, "Kill me!" There was no rhyme or reason whatsoever. Natalie was crazy, and one time in science class, Mr. Thompson was like, oh, okay, so what's the meaning of science? And usually I don't raise my hand because it's awkward, it's embarrassing. But you know what? Screw it. This is my new life. I'm gonna man up. So I raise my hand, psych. Mr. Thompson picked the girl behind me, Natalie. And Natalie stands up and go, science is a study about biology, physics, chemistry, and psychology. And Mr. Thompson's like, excellent. So yeah. And yeah, there were all sorts of weird incidents going on. And the real war, the real deal, okay, actually begins on November 13th, 2014, where, you know, I was ashamed. I'm actually kind of ashamed to admit this, but back then I was a bit of an MC. You know, I like to write songs and rap songs. I write rhymes because back then I was a huge Eminem fan. So anyways, I was writing this rap song in my seat and I was like, yeah, it rhymes, the flow is cool, you know, yada yada. And then Queenie and Natalie, they were really good friends back then. Queenie saw me and she's like, I think I'm about to steal. So Queenie snatched my piece of paper with the rap lyrics, and of course I'm like super embarrassed, like, oh shit, like, oh my god, oh, what the hell am I gonna do? What the hell am I gonna do? I was panicking. Edward was the class monitor. So I was like, Edward, please help, and then Edward and I went back to my seat, and Natalie and Queenie, they gave me back the piece of paper, and I'm like, oh, thank God, you got that. And then I looked at my piece of paper, I turned it, and it says, my name is short, dumb, and stupid, and then my name is a dog. And I'm like, oh fuck, they hate me, I'm dead. Queenie and Natalie are in my green list, and they are like powerful people, yeah? I'm dead. And immediately afterwards, because back in Form 1, like at least the first half of Form 1, I was in a band. Not exactly an orchestra, but like I was in a band. I played the flute, and Bernese, who I didn't know at all. Like, I don't know Bernese. I wasn't even sure if that's her name in the beginning. Bernese plays I don't even know how to plays the violin, okay? And she and Jennifer sit in front of me in the band. And so immediately after that, I went to band practice, and Bernese suddenly turned around and said, yo, Natalie, you're in danger, okay? Natalie and Queenie, they want to tell you to Miss Solomon and accuse you of writing bad things, you know? And I'm like, oh, really? Oh no, what am I gonna do? I mean, I'm in danger. And then Bernese is like, you know what else? Natalie and Queenie, they want to tell Miss Solomon that Keith, Edward, Tom, and Jeffrey are abusing their power. Because again, Edward became the class monitor. And the rest of them, Keith, Tom, Jeffrey, they became the lunch monitors, meaning that every time lunch, they would bring the lunch boxes to us in the classroom, and they're responsible for distributing them. But they're actually quite powerful too, for some reason. We don't eat lunch in the canteen. We eat lunch in the classroom from Forms 1 to 3. And I was like, what the hell am I gonna do? Oh shit. But I was actually excited. Instead of being worried, I was actually excited. Like, because for all my life, I've never entered this. I was always this surface level boy. No one really cares all that much about me. But finally, the first time ever, I can join a war. I can join a drama. You know how excited I was? I can learn people's secrets. I can form alliance with people. I'm in. I'm fucking in. Of course I was excited, you know? Immediately afterwards, November 14, it was intense. I was in the canteen and I saw Edward and Keith, and Edward was like, yo, have you seen Natalie? And I was like, no. And then I went up the stairs, and then I saw Oliver, and I said, oh, where's Natalie? And Oliver said, oh, I think in the library. And then immediately afterwards, me, Tom, Edward, Keith, I think also Jeffrey and Cedric tagged along for some reason. We ran up to the library. So our classroom 1C is on the first floor, and the library is on the 7th floor. We ran all the way up to the 7th floor, stormed into the library to not sneak up on Natalie, but more like to watch Natalie and make sure she doesn't do anything stupid. I clearly didn't know what was going on either. I was just following the boys. So we were like chasing after Natalie in the library, and we sort of we ran into the library door, we rushed over to the couch, and we hid behind the couch. And Natalie, like, she knows what's up, like she knows she's being followed, right? And she wasn't alone. She was with Anne, and she was with Winslet. And we were like, oh shit, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? And we were like very careful. And then Natalie just left. And we were just chasing after her. Like, we split into teams, and we ran after her in the staircase. And I ran really, really fast. I jumped down the stairs. I sweat a lot. It was intense. It was just pure tension and urgency. And then at the end, Natalie returned to her our classroom, and apparently she didn't do anything. And we were like, oh, we're relieved. Thank God she didn't do anything stupid. And that's pretty much it. Natalie never actually succeeded in ruining our lives, basically. Because little did we know, Miss Solomon already had the trust of Keith. Pretty much afterwards, I and Bernese had become friends because Bernese told me that she hates Natalie too, and given how dangerous and smart of a person Natalie is, and how evil she is actually, like, Bernese is like, you know what? I'm gonna help you, okay? I'm gonna help you. We're gonna be friends, and let's talk in WhatsApp. So I and Bernese, we became really, really close to one another. And Bernese is not like my first female friend ever. Actually, my second. So, and my first female friend, I and her, we had a huge argument at the end of elementary school, and I never talked to her again, and it's been 6 years since I've seen her, and I don't really care about her anymore. But Bernese, I and her, we became really, really, really close. Here's the thing. Back in Form 1, I was not hormonal at all. Let's just say that. Meaning that I was clearly an underdeveloped boy with clean, pure, innocent thoughts. So Bernese to me is just a friend. Like, I'm not looking for pussy. I'm not looking for anything, okay? Bernese is just a friend to me. And I don't know what Bernese thinks of me. Maybe Bernese is like, oh, you know what? Maybe I can date him, maybe. But to me, she's just a friend. I don't know what Bernese thought, really. Yeah, even if I had to make a decision, if I wanted to date Bernese, I would refuse, because, come on, you have Jordana, Linda, and Mary, you know, like, I would rather date those people than to date Bernese, you know? Yeah, so anyways, me and Bernese, we became friends, and, yeah, ever since November 2014, up until, like, September 2015, we were friends, and we were really close. We would see each other in McDonald's, and we would just chat, and she introduced me to her mom, and it was like very cool, you know? And then what happened was that Keith betrayed his team. Keith betrayed Jeffrey, Tom, and Edward. Keith, because everyone hates Miss Solomon, by the way. She is the #1 worst teacher ever, okay? And Keith would, to put it in vulgar words, Keith would kiss Miss Solomon's ass, okay? Miss Solomon would demand Keith to do things for her, and Keith would be like, all right, I'll do it for ya. Keith wouldn't question. Keith was loyal to Miss Solomon, And Keith would always tell Miss Solomon about people's secrets, And in return, Keith wanted to use Solomon to manipulate Miss Solomon so that he can control the entire class. That was Keith's master plan, but obviously he didn't succeed because he wasn't thorough enough. He didn't consider me, Bernese, and Mary. We are the variables in his flawed plan, basically. But yeah, Keith betrayed Edward, Tom, and Jeffrey. And Edward was like, aren't we brothers? Aren't we friends? And Keith was like, and word by word, literal word by word translation from Cantonese to English. Keith said, when we are brothers, the sun rises from the west. I wasn't there when this happened, but apparently Edward or maybe Tom told Bernese, and then Bernese told me, and I was like, fuck, man, Keith is dangerous. Keith is dangerous. It was scary because Keith used to be really nice to me, but it was all facade. He was acting. He wasn't nice. He was fake. He was wearing a mask. And he was like telling me a bunch of jokes, like, ha ha ha, funny, ha ha, but actually he wants to manipulate me. And from now on, I will never be manipulated. And I kept my promise because Jordana would try to manipulate me and she would fail atrociously. And I am not to be manipulated. Okay, I can see through the lies. Anyways, I'm running out of storage space, so I'm gonna quickly wrap up. So there's this. Anne and Keith were also in a relationship for quite a bit, but I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. I knew that, but I didn't understand why. Like one time Anne was in the middle of the classroom and Keith ran up to her and say something to her, and Anne was like, oh. And then Keith would just walk away and everyone's like, what the hell did Keith say? What the hell did Keith say? And Anne would be like, it's a secret. But Anne is a real tsundere lolly. Like, she is like the definition of a tsundere. Yeah. But anyways, we will move over to the next chapter when I have time. Alright, it's 2:43 a.m. in the morning. I don't care. Let's continue talking. I realize that I've already been talking about this for over just 37 minutes already, so I better speak quickly. I have mentioned Keith's betrayal. Keith had betrayed his friends, but of course to Keith, they're not his friends. They're just pawns, ready for being used. Little did Keith know that Jeffrey is also a very smart person, and Jeffrey did realize that Keith is a manipulative, narcissistic, dangerous person. So there's that. And also Edward. If you remember this, Edward and Keith, they used to be best friends. They used to be pals, but Keith betrayed him. So me and Bernese, I wanted to help Edward, because Keith, like, I do agree with the fact that Keith is dangerous, and I think that something should be done about it. So one day, on the ground floor beside the trail of flowers, I walked up to Edward and asked him about Keith, and Edward's like, wait, you know all this? And I kind of forgot how the conversation went, but it went down something like this. And then at the end, Edward allowed me and Bernese to help him to figure out what the hell's going on and sort of protect the people from Keith, basically. Because Keith is a really smart person. Like, he uses people like really well, and he's sadistic. And he's really, really evil and just messed up in the head. Back in Form 1, there's this book called The Apper, and this book blew up in my class, basically. It got so popular, like everyone's reading it, and everyone's like, oh, after you've read it, like, can you lend me that book? And that book is basically this really edgy book about how much humanity sucks. It's a novel, okay? It's a fiction novel, and it's about, it's basically like Hunger Games, okay? But the games are different in each rounds and stuff. And it's basically a book about how terrible is humanity. And so a lot of people read this book, including Keith, Jeffrey, Natalie, Jordana, Mary, and I was curious, so I read it as well. And I feel like this book had affected a lot of people. And so, especially for Keith, I mean, Keith is the first reader, I think. So Keith would definitely think, damn, humans suck. And you know what? Let it be. Yes, humans suck. So let me take advantage of humans sucking so that I can have more power and enjoy my life. Keith is doing all this just for fun. He is a true sociopath. After the Christmas break and our first exam cycle, we have two tests, two term tests, because we have two terms in each school year. So there are midterms, right? So there are two midterms every year, and then after when each term ends, there is an exam. So there are two midterms and two exams in one school year, four in total. So the first midterms is in November, and then we have the exam, and that is in January. And I think after the exam, one day I went up to Edward and asked him about stuff like, oh, what did Keith say? What did Keith do? Anyone else that I need to be aware of? Like, are there any more secrets that I don't know that I need to know? And Edward's like, hey, man, just quit your job. Stop. Just quit. What you're doing, okay? What you're doing, it's dangerous. It's gonna get you hurt. It's going to hurt the people around you. Okay, well, he didn't say that, but he said that what I'm doing is dangerous. And I was actually kind of convinced. I was like, oh, yeah, you have a point. Because I used to dig secrets, and there's this other time, December 5th, 2014. I and Bernese, I asked her, can you tell me all the secrets in this class, okay? And then she's like, I can't. And I'm like, why? Why can't you tell me all the secrets? And she's like, there are just too many, and even if, I mean, I don't know all of them, so, yeah, I collect secrets. I'm a secret collector. That's who I am. Anyways, afterwards we have another huge war, and this war is way bigger than anyone had predicted, and that is the Arthur War. Now, what happened was that in the orchestra, or in the band, there is a cellist, a cello player, okay? A cello player. He goes by the name of Arthur. Now, it's a fake name. I'm not saying his real name. I'm not saying anyone's real name here, okay? It's all fake names. Arthur. He had a crush on Bernese. But obviously Bernese didn't have a crush on him and didn't want him. So Arthur was upset. So what Arthur did was he kept on accusing Bernese of things that she didn't even do to none other than Miss Solomon. Now, Miss Solomon, she's strict, she's evil, I know that Miss Solomon is trying to teach, but sometimes her methods are just a little too hardcore, you know? So Miss Solomon would punish Bernese pretty bad, and Arthur would always be on the upper hand. And so people who are close to Bernese, like just people in general, they all tried to support Bernese, and Arthur was not done. Okay, Arthur continued to tell Miss Solomon shit about people, basically. And yeah, so other than Bernese, there were multiple victims of Arthur as well. So I hated Arthur. Like, me and Bernese were friends, and I fucking hated Arthur. So what I did was I don't even know why did I do this. It's not like it works or anything. I tried to threaten Arthur, but of course, given that he's 1 year older than me and that I was a socially awkward person, I didn't know how to threaten him. So what I did was, he was wearing this blazer, he was wearing this coat, and he had his wallet in the pocket of the coat, and I sort of touched it. I wasn't trying to steal it. I just touched it, and I looked at him, and like with a threatening, threatening look, and he's like, okay. Next day, right? He told Miss Solomon that I tried to steal his wallet, and I was like, fuck, man, I didn't try to do that. I was trying to threaten you. And I realized how dumb that was. Like, yeah, but yeah, Miss Solomon was actually like, wow, you're a thief. You're a thief. And then I wasn't done. I was like, okay, you know what, this Arthur guy, I'm not done with him. Let's go to war. So what I did was, Arthur had a friend. He's a really good guy. And he's like, yeah, Arthur's an asshole, right? And so I asked Arthur's friend for help. Because Arthur's friend is also in the drama club with me. We're also, drama club, like plays, like theater plays. I'm not talking about, people, secrets, and lies sort of drama. I'm talking about plays. Theater plays, Shakespeare drama. We didn't do Shakespeare that year. We did Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, and I only went to the stage and said 2 lines. Like, I was basically an extra, basically, when Scrooge was going back to the past, and he saw himself. I played young Scrooge, basically, and I had 2 lines. It's so lame. But anyways, that's besides the point. So I told Arthur's friend to tell Arthur, be careful. Now, it's a threat, okay? But it's not like elaborate or anything, but it's a threat. So, and I watched the whole thing happen. Like, it was in the canteen, and Arthur's friend went up to Arthur saying, someone from 1C tells you to be careful. And I don't know how, and then Arthur like walked away and went up the stairs, and I followed him. And I thought, because the stairway, it's how am I gonna illustrate it? It's like, okay, you go up, and then you go up, okay? And I thought that he's already up here, so I was like down there, right? So normally he wouldn't see me from up here, right? He backtracked, he saw me, and I was like, oh shit. So he told Miss Solomon about this again, and both Miss Solomon and Mr. Thompson very aggressively forced me to apologize in front of Arthur. And obviously when Miss Solomon asked why did I do this, I didn't say I was doing this because I was, fighting for Bernese. I said I was doing this because I was bored. But actually, that's not the case. I'm not a sociopath. Every time I do something dangerous, every time I do something risky, there's a reason behind it, okay? It's not like I'm having pleasure in this, okay? I'm doing this because I'm fighting for a friend. So yeah, Arthur's War, basically. What also happened simultaneously is the new seat change. I originally sat beside Queenie, but there's another seat change, and now I sit with Bernese, Cedric, and Mary. I and Cedric and Mary, we weren't close to one another, but after the seat change, we talk a lot to one another. We would pass little pieces of paper to one another, and we become really close friends. This is another thing. This is another huge thing that happened, is that it was February 2015 when I and Cedric became close friends. He also was in the drama club, but he was a stage guy. He wasn't an actor. He was the stage guy who was responsible for the lighting. And then we have Mary, who is this really cute. There, I've said it. She's cute. Okay? 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 Fuck you. Just fuck all of you. Mary's really seductive. She seems really cute and innocent and nice on the surface, but she's actually like she's she's filthy. She's filthy. And she's talented. She is talented, and she's good at speaking, and she's good at reading people. And so we four became friends, and we were just really cool. And we all hate Arthur. Like Mary and Cedric, they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to see Arthur die," you know. There's this incident. Have you ever thought, why did Mary become our friends? Shouldn't Mary already have her own friends, given that she's I won't say popular person, but usually people would form friends immediately after 1 week of going to school, you know? So where are Mary's original friends? Turns out that Mary's original group of friends abandoned her in a WhatsApp group. Just, they all left the WhatsApp group, leaving her alone. And because Mary was a huge Korea boo, basically, and is a huge Korea boo. And so Mary's group, they were all just huge Korea boos. They were a fan of this boy band called EXO, and that's why I always call those girls the EXO girls, you know. So Wendy joined the group, and Wendy didn't know much about K-pop, and Mary's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna teach you this stuff." And then Mary's group of friends were like, "Wow, you're lame. You're lame." So they just left the group, and Mary's super pissed about it. So Mary told Bernese about these people, about her group of friends abandoning her, basically. Caroline, Cherry, Alan, Umbrielle, Jennifer, all fake names, by the way. So Mary and Bernese, they were discussing secrets, okay, on the ground floor, in the empty space, in the empty area. And Cedric showed up. And Cedric's like, "Oh, what are you two talking about?" And Bernese is like, "It's none of your business. It's secrets." But Cedric insisted, like he was curious, like, "Come on, we're friends, right? You gotta tell me what's going on." And Mary's like, "Nope, none of your business. Please walk away." And Cedric's like, "Why are you being so mean to me? I thought we're friends. What are you trying to hold back?" And then Mary snapped, and I've never seen her snap before. And when this happened, I wasn't there. Like, Bernese told me all this. Mary snapped, saying, "Do I really have to tell you everything? Do I really have to tell you if this happened and that happened? Do I really have to tell you if I'm pregnant?" She said this literally in Cantonese. "Do I have to tell you if I was going to give birth to a child?" Like, it's really weird in English, but in Cantonese it makes more sense. Anyways, Mary and Cedric. Yeah. And then I showed up, and Bernese is like, "Oh, Mary's kind of upset. Will you check on her?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, you know." So I went to the canteen, and it wasn't on the same day. I think it was like the other day or something. But I went to the canteen, and it was Mary's group of friends, Caroline, Cherry, Alan, and then they were all like, "Shh, shh, shh," because they thought I am like Mary's pawn, like they thought Mary's using me as a spy. Anyways, that wasn't the case. I am not to be manipulated. That's not the case. Anyways, Mary, I went up to Mary, and Mary's like, "Oh, I'm happy." Obviously. For some reason, Bernese did a 180 degree. Bernese fell in love with Cedric, and was jealous, and was worried that Mary would date Cedric, or flirt with Cedric, or seduce Cedric, because Mary's just so friggin' seductive. Mary's a succubus, basically. So Bernese started hating on Mary, and one time when Cedric told me that he and Bernese are dating, I'm like, what? You can't be serious, right? And then on the next day, Bernese went up to me saying, do you hate me? Do you hate me and Cedric? Because you said that yesterday, right? And I was like, what? No. And then Bernese was like, yes, you hate us. Yes. And you and other people will team up against us, right? And I was like, no, I would never do that. And I asked, who would I possibly team up with? And Bernese said, Mary. So at the end of, I think at around April 2015, Bernese and Mary, they stopped being friends. And Mary just left the group, basically. Actually, earlier on in February 2015, when we were still friends, Mary gave each of us a notebook. So for diary writing, and I used to dislike the idea of writing diaries. Like, writing diaries is so annoying. I have to write it every day. But because it's Mary's idea, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try it out. And since March 13th, 2015, every single time I go to school, I write diaries. This is exactly the book that Mary gave me. Now, I'm going to handle it with care, okay? Because it is heritage, okay? But these words, detective, she wrote it. This is her handwriting. Elegant. I don't know why. And then this too. Yeah, I wrote a lot of stuff here, you know, just a lot of diary entries. And it's not your average entry. I don't write like, oh, dear diary, rainy day, you know. I'm actually serious. Like, oh, today this person said this, that person said this happened, that happened, this is my plan, that is my plan. Okay, so far this is the people relationship map, you know, and yeah, pretty much it. Before Bernese and Mary had a fallout, for a while, Bernese and Mary disliked Cedric, and we were trying to hide from Cedric, and Mary's like, oh, do you know what happened between me and Cedric? And I was like, yeah, I know. And Bernese is like, yeah, he knows. And Mary's like, ooh. No, she didn't do that. But in her heart, she's like, oh yeah, this kid, this boy, however foolish and innocent he seems, he's meant to play the game. She probably didn't think that, but I meant to play the game, and I played it pretty poorly, and I failed. So, yeah. Anyways, so much for the diaries. Yeah, I wrote a lot of stuff, as you can see. All right, next part, Cedric's betrayal. It was May 2015 when Cedric betrayed me. Bernese and I, we had a minor argument in April after Mary's fallout, but it was solved. Me and Bernese, we were friends again, but Bernese and Cedric, they're still dating. And one day during math class, Cedric had a really, terrible score for a math quiz, and I went up to him saying, oh, come on, it's all right, you know, it's gonna be okay. And then Cedric turned around saying, go, before I hit you. And I was like, whoa, why are you mad? What the hell? And then Bernese went up to me and say, Cedric's mad at you because you've been collecting secrets about all these people, you know, Jordana, Linda, like, you're kind of a creep, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. So what Cedric did was he straight up told Jordana and Linda that I am researching them. And that's horrifying because Jordana and Linda, they're powerful people. They're smart, strong, dangerous. If they hate someone, they hate someone. Cedric told them this. Okay, let me find the diary entry. I didn't use fake names back then, so I may have to be careful. But I and Mary, we didn't exactly stop talking to each other. Like, I still talk a little bit to Mary. Like, I tell her, like, hey man, don't mess up and stuff. That was really weird. I don't know when did I forgot which day exactly did Cedric betray me, but it happened. Okay, it friggin' happened, and I was like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore. Can't do this anymore. Which day was it? Anyways, I forgot. Which day was it? Yeah, anyways, I really forgot. Anyway, Cedric betrayed me, and there was this one moment where I had to secretly hide outside of the classroom. And in the classroom, there were no one but Cedric, Jordana, and Linda. And I was like, oh my god, I'm dead. I'm dead. And at that point, I was pretty sure that I was going to quit being a detective. Like, I'm just going to quit nosing around. I'm going to quit collecting information about people. I quit, okay? Which day was it? Come on. Okay, I saw it. I think I found it. Is it? I don't even know if this is, I think it was this. Oh yeah, it is definitely this. Oh my god, what the fuck? This is my reaction. Did I reveal any real names? I'm gonna blur this out if I reveal any real names. Anyways, yeah. And not only that, but at the same time my identity was being exposed, because me being a detective, it's supposed to be a secret, because if people know that I'm a detective, then they will deliberately hide information from me. So that would suck, and they would hate me for what I do. So my identity have to be a secret. Edward saw this diary, and he raised this diary into the air, saying, "He's the detective!" And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What's even worse is our math teacher calling me a detective in class. I was like, fuck man, my identity exposed. It's exposed. Yeah. Anyways, I didn't stop being a detective, of course. Instead, I started to be even more paranoid and crazy, because all these small incidents happened regarding Jordana and Linda and Wendy and Mary and Anne and Queenie and Kenny and Oliver and Harry, and I was like, wow, they're all really special people. Like, they're all hiding secrets, and they all have strange childhoods and all that, and I start to learn more and more about them. And aside from Green List, I created a new theory called the Blue List. And instead of people who are, angry with the society and will do anything in their power to sort of succeed and win, the Blue List is a little different. It's people who knows that the world is broken and dangerous and bad, and they sort of cheat their way out. And they are usually very intelligent. They're very smart, and they're tricky people, and they are also broken. They're messed up in the head. Now, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I kind of have to, because I was 14 back then, or about to be 14, and I put myself on Blue List. But I was wrong. I wasn't a blue. And there were only 4 people on the Blue List: Keith, Jordana, Natalie, and me. Natalie, I removed her from the Green List because she isn't strong. Keith definitely isn't strong. Keith being a small boy, but is very calculated and sociopathic. Jordana, while she's strong and smart, she's actually simultaneously in the Green List and in the Blue List. She's the only person who's both green and blue. She's strong, talented, angry, but also she's tricky and smart. And I also put myself on there because I'm the fucking detective. Half a year later, I would remove myself from the list, but that's for another day. Anyways, you have no idea how paranoid I was. I was like, oh, she's staring at me. Oh, he's staring at me. He knows that I know. Oh, she knows that I'm trying to dig information out of her. Oh no, what do I do? So yeah, basically there's all that, and it was really intense. Like, I really did gather a lot of information, and strange incidents like this happen where suddenly everyone just go insane. Queenie and Oliver would throw pieces of chalk onto the ground. Harry would hit people, and Linda would break the table, and suddenly they would become super smart and they would become really serious. Like, it's so strange. It's like they're being possessed. Or this other time where I had to play recorder, and I absolutely failed because of how nervous I was. But the big incident was that on June 4th, 2015, something happened. And at that point, I was already like, okay, so Cedric already told Jordana and Linda all about me, okay, right? My detective work. And I thought, you know what? I know it's a crazy idea, but you know what? I'm gonna befriend Jordana and Linda. I'm gonna be their friends. And I thought it's a crazy idea, and Bernese advised me against it. Bernese was like, don't do it, man, don't do it, man. On June 1st, I had this very strange dream where I was in the sky, and there's this yellowish orange platform, like a pavilion, and I and Bernese were holding hands, but not like as romantic partners. And then Jordana and Linda were in front of us, and they held our hands, and we walked to the future together. And after I had this dream, I was like, you know what? I want to befriend Jordana and Linda. I know it's crazy, I know it's out of character, and being this cowardly and socially awkward, I know this is dangerous. And I know that they're dangerous people. Even Edward warned me, like, don't piss off Linda. Don't piss off Linda. She's gonna really kill you. You're gonna actually die. But I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna befriend them. But I didn't make my decision until June 4th. We had PE lesson, and we had to run. And unlike the USA, when we had PE, we have it in the outdoors. Or maybe it's like that in the USA too. Anyways, we had it in the outdoors, and it was like 30 something degrees. It was so hot. We were all dying, and we were having the running exam. What we do is that the teachers, they're gonna give us, the coaches, they're gonna give us 9 minutes, and we have a partner, and our partner is going to count how many laps in the friggin' court we have ran. And they sort of count how many laps we run, so that they know how fast we are. And I ran, and I wasn't bad. Like, I was faster than Natalie and stuff. Jordana, she was serious. Like, she was really, really aggressive and angry. And Jordana looked like she was dying. And in the last 30 seconds, Jordana had decided to give all, because she wants to be good at this. She wants to be super fast. So she was like, okay, Barry Allen mode on. I'm going full speed. And then afterwards we were dying, basically. We were running out of breath. My legs were sore, super sore. I couldn't barely stand up. I fell to the ground. I was hyperventilating. My hands are shaking. I was trying to drink water out of my bottle, and I was like, and everyone else was like that. Everyone's dying, basically. Jordana also sat on the ground. I think she looked at me ominously, and then suddenly Jordana passed out. She fainted. And it was like, whoa, is she dead? Like, every one of us, we were super concerned and super shocked about this incident. Like, wait, is she dead? Is she dying? What is going on with her? And then at one point we ran all the way down to the sick room, which is where the school keeps sick people. And then the ambulance came, and they picked up Jordana, who's still unconscious. onto the ambulance, and we were just crying. Like, Bernese was crying. I was just shocked. I was about to cry. Linda was crying and angry, and everyone's just shocked. But Keith was laughing his ass off for some reason. And then when we went up to the classroom again, Cedric and Edward had this huge, just the hugest argument I've ever seen so far anyways, right? And they were just yelling at each other, just swearing. Cedric's like, why did you let Jordana pass out? Because apparently Edward was somehow responsible for it. I don't even understand why. Actually, Edward later clarified that it was Keith who stopped him from helping Jordana, but Cedric didn't know that in the moment. So anyways, afterwards, I cried, and Mary, being the kind person she is, she lent Bernese some tissue paper. And immediately on the next day, Jordana was totally fine. And I went up to her and I was like, did you receive my card? Because after Jordana passed out, Linda was like, hey guys, you know what? Write her some cards. Give it to her in the hospital. So I wrote her a card. And I said, I have something special to tell her. And Caroline's like, wait, do you have a crush on her? And I said, no. Wow, 18 seconds. Anyways, Jordana's fine. And she almost acts like she had an amnesia. Like she doesn't remember anything. Anyways, throwback to December 2014. When Jordana was revising for the exam, Ronald went up to her saying, why the hell are you revising? You're already good at this, right? And then Jordana was like, you don't even know who I am. And Ronald was like, oh, I know. You're a bitch. And Jordana slammed Ronald in his knees, and Ronald was like, oh, shit, man. And then I brought this up to her again on June 2015. And Jordana's like, I don't remember that at all. And I was like, okay. Anyways, remember the girl in the red jacket in the experience day that I mentioned earlier? It was her. It was Jordana. And I didn't realize that until June 2015, until before Jordana passed out. And I realized it's almost like destiny that I have to become friends with Jordana. But that is also exactly the reason why I failed playing the game. I shouldn't have befriended Jordana. Or at least I should have been more careful of a person, because Jordana, I also became one of her victims. But yeah, that I'll leave that for another video. Jordana had ruined the school lives of a few people, and I'm one of those people. And I shouldn't have befriended Jordana. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I finished the entire Form 1. Of course, there are many other things that had happened, but I didn't have the time to talk about each and one of those incidents. Yeah, I'll talk about Form 2 next. And yeah. Yeah, not much else to say other than just people being insane, people being crazy, and people going crazy is what happened in Form 1. To describe Form 1, it would be the age of paranoia, where I was at my most paranoid, and I was pretty much like a lone warrior the whole time, where I was like, I didn't know what was going on around me. I always needed someone to depend on. I always need friends. And yeah. And obviously I didn't know how to play the game. Even in Form 2, I didn't know how to play the game. In Form 3 and 4, I was too scared to play the game. And yeah, this is one of the reasons why I failed playing the game. But overall, this is what happened, and thanks for watching, I guess. Thanks for taking your time out and watch me talk about school for 2 hours. Yeah. I forgot to mention that at one point I sat beside Wendy in the back of the classroom, and in front of me was Jane, and beside Jane was Gary. And me and Wendy, while we weren't super close, Wendy was actually quite friendly to me. Like back in the Natalie Wars, I thought Wendy was an ally of Natalie, and I thought, wow, Wendy's gonna read my mind too now. Wendy's actually pretty nice, and she's just a regular girl who's kind of energetic, and she's not one of those pretty girls like she gets nasty if she wants to. She's just a normal person. But I've always known that Wendy is capable of something that I don't know. Wendy's father and my father were once colleagues. That's a fun fact. And Tom's cousins and my cousins were once classmates. That's a fun fact. And the composer of the band that I was in, that I quitted because of Arthur, was actually a friend of my aunt's. That's a fun fact. And there were a lot of fun facts. But yeah, Wendy, she had bruises all over her arms all the time, and I asked her, why the hell do you have bruises all over your arms? And Wendy was like, take a guess. And at the end, I didn't know why, and I still don't know why. So I may have to ask her when we meet next time.